I'm here with the mayor of St. Augustine, Mayor Nancy Sikes-Kline, to ask about just the town, the history, and her role as mayor. So, question number one, every leader has a why. Could you share the specific moments or issue in St. Augustine's history or modern life that made you realize you wanted to lead this city?
Well, that's a good question. I did not have a specific moment, I don't think. It kind of developed over time for me. Um, the reason I served as commissioner for years, and now I've been mayor for, I'm in my fourth year. I've run, I think I've had like six different elections that I've gone through. I guess I could talk about my first, which maybe that was the moment that got me into public service. Was I was just at a function, and the local state rep was there, and he said, you're doing a lot of great things in the community, and have you thought about running for political office? And I said, no. And he said, well, you should, because we need young people and we need people that are engaged and understand our communities and know how they work and who's involved and what they're doing and what they care about most. And so I took that to heart. It was a few years before I actually ran for office, but that's kind of really what got me into it. It was sort of like one of those moments. It was like, oh, gee, I never thought about that, but it's a great idea. So, but then after so many years of being commissioner, there was an opening on the mayor. Mayor was had decided he didn't want to do it anymore, and it was a good opening for me because there was an open seat for mayor in our city. Mayors run for a we run for the seat. It's not, a
Oh,
position that's passed around or voted
yeah.
on by the other commissioners. We actually have to run for the seat. So yeah, so that's kind of long story short.
And then is St. Augustine the mayor council system?
Well, actually, it's a strong manager form of government, our charter means that the city manager makes all the hiring, firing, day-to-day decisions, and the mayor and the commission, we are policymakers. So we have certain responsibilities to work with the community. Like I have responsibilities that are different from the other commissioners because I'm mayor and I have to speak for them. But I have one of five votes. I do not have veto power. So I'm basically, yes, mayor, council, we're all the same. I just do a little extra work. But the city manager, he really makes a lot of the decisions and um, so forth.
Nice. Okay, next. Between the influx of millions of tourists and the needs of permanent residents, what does a typical day in your life look like as mayor of the nation's oldest city?
That's a good, yeah, it's busy. It's busy. I try to maintain a thing where I don't do more than two things a day. And then I try to keep Fridays completely open just for being in my office, which I'm in my office at home. I do have an office at City Hall, but I rarely use it. Um, it's downtown, it's in the historic district, so it's not necessarily easy to get to.
Yeah.
Because we have millions and millions of visitors, and parking is at a premium in downtown St. Augustine. But yeah, my day to day, it's usually I live by my calendar. I think my most challenging part of my job is my calendar and scheduling. I get anywhere from 5 to 10 requests a day to cut a ribbon on a new business, or go to a function. It could be anything from someone's wedding to, um, shooting off a little pop gun to start a 5K run or anything like that, to speaking and welcoming groups all the time. So, and those things, meeting for coffee. I love to meet with coffee. I stay in touch with my constituents that way. So St. Augustine, you have to understand, we're a city, we have about 16,400 people in our city, but the urban area around us is all built out, and it's about 107,000, 100 to 10,000 people live in this
Yeah.
urban area along the coast. So we are really impacted by people going through. I call it a cut through city. Like the people that actually live here, they're always going through the city. A lot of people think that I'm their mayor. So I get to be mayor of 16,000 sometimes, and I get to be mayor of 100,000 sometimes. So it's a real honor and privilege. But um, staying in touch with the 16,000 is not such a big challenge. I mean, it's a small enough of a town that you can actually knock on everybody's door if you need to.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really a great place to live. And we kind of, sadly, we divided ourselves up by neighborhoods, and we do have a neighborhood association. So they make it really easy for me to go to a group and say, "What's your issue?" or "What can I do to help you?" or them to come to me and say, "We need you to come and do a walk around the neighborhood," which I have done. So, but yeah, every day is different. It's always interesting. I do deal a lot with tourism impacts and a lot with residents impacted by tourism. The businesses are kind of they seem to kind of do their own thing. They do invite me to their meetings sometimes, and we get to go at it. So there's always a little friction between the residents and the businesses. So I receive a lot of that pressure from both sides, and we
Makes
have to
sense.
make decisions sometimes that are not in what the businesses want us to do. So,
Yeah.
but I do meet with them, and they're a big part. I guess they are a big part of what I do, even though I don't interface with them every day. I keep a close eye on them.
And then I pulled up the map here, just like Google Maps. Is St. Augustine South and Augustine Beach different towns? Or like are they
St.
under
Augustine Beach is a different town, and I think they're under
Okay.
10,000. They're quite small. So there's only two municipalities in our county. We're in St. Johns County, which I think is around 350,000. And the
Mhm.
beach and the city of St. Augustine.
That's a lot, yeah. Okay, so next is with so much international attention on St. Augustine, how do you ensure oh, you kind of answered this. How do you ensure you stay connected to the backyard issues of your neighbors? Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, that's
Yeah, it's
basically
important.
really
They reach out. They reach out to me. They know I have a long history. I have always it's much more challenging now that I'm mayor to respond to everyone in a timely manner. But a long time ago, I heard a guy speaking from, I believe he was from Lake County. It was at a Florida League of Cities thing. It was, electeds, a lot of electeds gather. And he said, I have this policy where I respond to a phone call in 24 hours and I respond to an email in 48 hours. And I thought that was a really good goal, even though I don't always do it. I'm not able to do it, especially with phone calls. A lot of times it's most of my phone calls are either some kind of bizarre, weird thing from somewhere in Wisconsin about,
oh yeah.
you know, strange horse and carriages or, something like PETA, or it could be like there's like people that make a thing out of traveling around and standing up for their rights, and it's like a whole cult, so I can get a lot of phone calls from just strange people. Last week I had someone call me 3 times in a row and say, "Do you know so and 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 so," and like their names, and it was just the oddest thing. So I don't know, but I do, so I try to respond. Long story short, I do try to respond, but I shop in the same grocery stores and walk the same streets, and I'm out there, and people call me and they text me a lot. And over the years, I think people just know that they can contact me, and that, maybe it won't happen the way they want it to happen or get fixed the way they want it to get fixed, but something could be acknowledged and understood and heard at the very least. And sometimes it can actually help somebody solve a problem,
Yeah.
which is my favorite part of the job.
And then, so the next section here is about like the history of the town, and that's what I'm gonna focus on kind of when I'm there. So governance is often about compromise. In a city where every brick has historical value, how do you balance the urgent need for modern progress with the demands of historic preservation?
That has been a hard fought and I feel mostly one issue in the city. That is the reason that I ran. You know, oftentimes people run because they say, ah, I see something I want to change. That was the thing that I wanted to change, was to have a full understanding and recognition and acknowledgement, and followed by action, to preserve our historic character and culture. And to do that inside City Hall, to create a culture inside, which it wasn't always there. It just, we've always had an archaeology department. We're one of the very few cities in the nation that has our own archaeologist team on staff, and that when you hit a certain threshold of development, you have to have, it is
Yeah,
mandatory that you have an archaeology investigation. So there wasn't, the archaeologist wasn't getting called. I mean, whereas you as a property owner had to comply with these codes for archaeology, but the city staff itself, like the streets and grounds people, they were just digging holes in streets. And I felt like really needed to change that culture inside City Hall, that everybody inside. So that was one of my goals. So that's kind of my long answer, is that it's a daily reminder, but mostly everybody here now that moves here, they want to save their property. Mostly everybody, not everybody, but because the people that do come now and they don't get it and they don't understand it, they get pounded. Sorry. Peer pressure is what I mean. Peer
yeah.
pressure, because everybody here, that's their core value. Our core value is to preserve our history and culture because it's extremely unique in American history and even before American history. So, yes, so St. Augustine's
Yeah.
history goes far before, long before American history.
And then, so history is rarely a single story. As the city looks back on its Spanish, British, and American periods, how is your office working to ensure that the official history of St. Augustine is inclusive of all voices, including the Minorcan and African American communities?
Well, that's a big, long answer, but basically, we have a historic preservation plan. We have a planning department, a historic preservation planning department. We have the archaeology department. We do work to make sure that we're studying. We work with historians that are actually, and help fund, by the way, historians like that are in the archives in Spain, in the
Oh,
that are doing research with students. We support research. So we do find new things, and we work with people that come to us to celebrate those history. Like we have an events field, pardon me, we have an events field downtown, excuse me, and in the spring, we have a lot of festivals. We're going to have a Celtic festival that celebrates our Celtic roots. The Menorcan Festival is this spring. That's a celebration of, like you said, the Menorcans. We facilitate requests, so we provide opportunities for them to talk about their history as best as we can. We recognize them with the proclamations. That's one of the ways that government is good at. We can do proclamations every year, and we have them all the time. This weekend, here's an example. The Irish, the Consulate General from Ireland is opening a new exhibit in our Visitors Information Center on the history of the Irish here in St. Augustine, who were, along with, we believe, where the researchers say, were along the on the ships that landed here to colonize St. Augustine, the Spanish ships. So also we think, they think that, and this exhibit is going to talk about this, that the very first celebration for St. Patrick's Day was held in the world was held here in St. Augustine. The
Really?
recognition of it and the celebration. So, we're always finding new things and celebrating new things. So we do it through our whatever venues we have. And that's a lot of what we do. We want to talk about our authentic history. We don't necessarily talk about pirates, even though they're all lurking in the streets and things. We had privateers, not so much pirates. Some people might argue with me on that, but and ghosts, of course,
Yeah.
there's a lot of that kind of history, so to speak. So we work really hard to, and it is our core value. It's in our mission statement, really to recognize our authentic history. So it is that is really probably what keeps me most busy in my schedule is working with these different groups. We go to Spain a lot. We have
Really?
just last year we celebrated 100-year relationship, government to government, with our city, Avilés, Spain, which is the hometown of Pedro Menendez de Avilés, who founded our city. So we
Hmm.
stay very closely in touch, constantly um, sending ideas back and forth. We have a delegation going over for Holy Week this year. The vice mayor is going to go. I will be going in June to accept an award from the U.S. Spain Council and Foundation, um, which is a organization that works, businesses work together between our two nations. They're giving us the Gavez Award for as we celebrate 250 years of our country. Spain played a heavy role in that revolution and us winning
Yeah.
the revolution, and we're trying to recognize that and educate people on that. So they're giving us excuse me sorry, they're giving us a very prestigious award. They've only awarded, I think, 11 of these or something like that. So I'll be going over in June accepting that. We're very honored to do that. So we really have, when I think about it, we do a lot, everything from the Menorecans to the African Americans. When you're a city at 460 years old, you have a lot of layers of history. And interestingly, St. Augustine has seen a lot of that history. A lot of interesting things have happened here over time. It's just one of those really kind of unique and special places,
Hmm.
I think, which is why I mean, my family's from here going back before the Civil War. I didn't grow up here, but I'm really dedicated to preserving it and recognizing it. But yeah, that is something that we have to even as much as we have the core value, we still have to remind people to talk about that we care about the authentic history and culture, the real living history and culture. So it's very difficult and very challenging in a tourism town because people want to use the town, and they do, to eat and drink and have
Yeah.
weddings and come and have bachelor parties, and then and be entertained in a modern culture, which includes ghost tours and pirates and things like that. So it's a challenge, you want it to be informational and you want it to be authentic, but you also want it to be interesting to people. So
Yeah.
it's always a challenge. Popular culture drives tourism a lot, and so it's good to have. I will tell you, every day I'm very grateful for the National Park Service having the Castillo in managing the Castillo de San Marcos, which is very important to our history here in St. Augustine, and it's a
The
real
national
place.
the National Park Service manages it.
Yes, they own it.
Yeah. I didn't know
Secretary of
that.
Interior owns it. Yeah, thank goodness, because there'd probably be condos there. I
Yeah.
mean, some of the things I've seen this in the past, the city fathers do. Although I think back in the set 50s, there was a very strong movement to recognize the history and preserve the history. And like I said, those forces of tourism, I say tourism has a sort of scouring effect on everything. It just kind of really won't, it, it'll
Yeah.
just remove everything that isn't useful to it, you know? So we have to fight back every day.
The next question is actually pretty much that. Many historic cities struggle with becoming museums where nobody actually lives. What is your philosophy on adaptive reuse, allowing historic structures to be converted into modern businesses or homes? How much of the original soul of a building must be kept to satisfy the city's standards?
Well, okay, I'll start with the last. We do have historic architectural guidelines, and you do when you do renovations, you can't just do demolitions. Anything over 50 years old in the city has to go to the architecture review board for any demolition permit, and they have to um, meet the criteria for demolition. I think there's 12 criteria, but um, so you do have to allow some, removal of you, you do some, everything doesn't last forever, ever, you know? So there are times when demolitions are approved. When you want to do a renovation, like we're pretty strict in our HP districts. We call them our historic preservation districts, which are actually extra overlays on our zoning districts downtown, and they have to go through, if you're remodeling your home, you are going to get a review of the paint color and the windows and the
Mm,
doorknobs and the fixtures. You are going to get those reviews. You're going to meet criteria. We don't try to make it hard, but it is. And it's expensive, so you buy a property in downtown, you're going to pretty much invest a lot. That's why that peer pressure that I talked about, people have a lot invested in their property and they want other people to be also invested in their property in the same level.
yeah.
So we do require some some reviews so that everything's kind of do we do the best we can preserving things. It's not always possible. Adaptive reuse is what we do. We always say out in St. Johns County around us, their business is growth because it is Florida. Florida's growth. I always say Florida has three businesses, three major industries. Growth is number one. Uh, tourism is number two, and agriculture is number three. And we will all squabble about what the order should be on those all of those industries work, but we really do have a test on our hands with tourism. But we like I said, getting back to the point, we in the county they grow. New growth is king. In the city, adaptive reuse is king. We do redevelopment in the city. We have very few large areas that can be turned into a residential subdivision. I mean, really, the
Yeah.
only ones we have are the ones that are on the edges that got annexed in years, have been annexed in, where there actually is vacant land. But in the city, there just isn't much. It's about a 10 square mile city. So, but we do, it's tough. I mean, right now, we've got a major renovation going on downtown, talking about the scouring effect of tourism. We have an office building that is the largest building in St. Augustine. It was built in the 20s. You couldn't build a building that high today. Our buildings are limited at 35 feet throughout the city. We don't have high rises except for this one. And then, of course, we have the lighthouse. Um, and we have the hospital, which is high. But this building is a beautiful 1920s building. It's in a Mediterranean revival, and it's being renovated to be a hotel. So it was an office building at one time when the downtown of St. Augustine actually was a living, breathing city where um, people worked. There was the courthouse was there. There were businesses, the kind of businesses that you have to have for a livable city. Mostly all of them have gone now. We have managed to hang on to our post office downtown, so that's
Hmm.
nice to have. City Hall downtown, but the courthouse was moved out years ago into the county, and it's a brand new building and all that stuff. But so we're really just our redevelopment has everything to do with tourism and hotel rooms. So we're just seeing a real boom in hotel rooms here in St. Augustine as
Yeah.
we so that's kind of and the residents they feel there's friction about it. There's a friction about it, but it's not everybody recognizes that when you live here, you get to enjoy the benefits of those kind of tourists that come here. They care about the same things that we care about, which is history and
Awesome.
culture. So, yeah.
And then speaking on that, so I'm gonna be in St. Augustine on Sunday.
Oh,
Um, just like between because we're gonna be camping in Jacksonville and then camping in Orlando.
oh.
So midday Sunday. What is your personal favorite part of this community? And what recommendations do you have for me and my friends to see while we're there, including the Castillo, which we're definitely gonna go see?
You definitely should see the Castillo. I don't know how much time you have here, but I would walk down St. George Street and maybe Spanish Street or, Charlotte, those go to the plaza, enjoy the plaza. Just take a walk. It's a great walking city. You can park at the garage. The easiest thing would be to park. I don't know how much it costs, but it's like I don't know. But there's a charge. It's very difficult to find street parking.
Yeah,
But and you can just walk there from every you can visit the center. In fact, I think Sunday is the day that we open the new exhibit for the little Irish exhibit at the visitor center. The visitor center is right there at the garage. I'd go to the Castillo, definitely. You can't miss that. Just take a walk around, and stop, grab a bite to eat. There's little places to eat. There's places to have drinks. There's a free exhibit, I think will be open in Government House, which is down on the plaza. The University of Florida operates that, and it's a little gallery inside, and you can just walk in and see just incredible paintings out of the Vickers collection that are Florida landscapes that have the topic is on water. They change that exhibit every year or so. And it's one of the most interesting exhibits, I think, that's free to do. It's just amazing. They're usually local art, I mean, Florida artists too in those exhibits. But let's see, who else? What else? If you want to go over the Bridge of Lions, um, I would say go to the lighthouse if you have time and climb the lighthouse. And of course, there's the beach.
yeah.
Um, But Anastasia State Park is wonderful over there. It's actually located in the city limits. There's no driving on that beach, but it is a lot of walking to get down to the beach from where you can park. You can go into, there's a fee, it's a state park. But I like it because there's no driving on the beach there. The other beaches are driving. I think they might charge to drive on the beach this time of year, but you
Interesting.
just have to be careful about the tides. You
Yeah.
don't want to get stuck in there in the sand, the sand when the tide's up high. But yeah, it would be like start at the visitor center. You could walk down St. George Street, go around the plaza, go to the government house, and then go along the bayfront and walk up along the water to go to the Castillo. It's just
Mm,
one little, it's really our historic district is probably, it's just a few blocks long and a few blocks wide. So it's just
awesome.
a very small little area. So, but most people that come here, they like that. They like to walk around because it's free to do. And it's quite beautiful. And I think the weather will be lovely for you on Sunday. I wish you the
I'm so
best.
excited.
And
It
then
is.
you said you're going to Orlando?
Yeah, we're doing a road trip, so we're going Orlando. My cousin and aunt live in Melbourne, so we're gonna be staying with them. My friend's grandma lives in Miami, and then we're going to Key West. We're also interviewing the mayor of Key West, so that'll be
Oh,
fun.
wow.
And then we're coming back. My friend goes
That's
to Central Florida, so we're gonna meet up with him in Orlando. Um, but right now it's 47 degrees and rainy here in Boone. So yeah,
gee, I love, my family always had a home in grandfather.
yeah, I
And
love
before that it
grandfather.
was hound ears. So I'm spent many, many summers all around there. And boy, has Boone changed. But it's a great school. I've been to some really good, I went to Penland too. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but it's down in Spruce Pine. It's a craft school where you learn to do. I went to school there for a little while, but it wasn't like a college. It was a craft school. You learned to
Hmm.
skill. But oh, I love it up there. This is not my favorite time of year up there. Summers are just amazing. So, do you get to snow ski at all?
Oh, I
Or,
mean, there's so much snow. I love skiing. I went skiing last night and on Saturday and on
oh,
Friday. So
oh my gosh, that's amazing. I'm glad because there's been so many years when they had to blow it and it wasn't very good and everything.
yeah, it just kind of depends on the time of year. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
uh,
good. Well, I'm glad. It's supposed to be a beautiful week.
I'm
Nice
so
weather.
excited.
Yeah, you're gonna have a
Um,
great time. Miami's, I don't know about I can't, but you're gonna go to Key West?
Key West is going to be amazing. Yeah, we have a campsite
Yes.
on
Oh
Key
my
West.
gosh. That's
Um,
a lot of driving, y'all.
oh, I next in May, me and my friend were driving to the Dakotas. So, you know,
Oh,
just a
I've never
little
been. And now will there be snow still?
in May there hopefully there shouldn't be.
Okay. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm just a Florida girl. I haven't, I don't even think about snow. I don't like cold weather. I mean, I'll tolerate it, but this is right where we are right now. This is my favorite time of the year. And
Yeah.
we've had two hard freezes this year. It's shocking. Everything's going to be dead looking when you come. Just be prepared because we don't usually have hard freezes just far
Um,
north. So a lot of our stuff is dead, and we haven't had. They say don't cut it back until after spring starts, which won't be very long. We're not supposed to get any more hard cold, so we're thrilled. But from everything I can see, it looks like your weather is just going to be. Let's see
it's gonna
what's.
be like 80 or something. It's gonna be great.
Oh yeah, it'll be perfect at night. And let's see, daily.
It's just annoying
Yeah,
because the week of
79.
spring break, it's gonna be
You just
so
wear
humid.
layers. Just wear layers. That's all. Wear t-shirt. Yeah, that's t-shirt weather. Even the 63 is the lowest. Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's funny.
You're gonna have fun. Just be careful of the fog. That's all. Sometimes we get fog this time of year.
We get a lot more fog up here.
Do
Driving
you?
in Blowing Rock. I don't know if you've seen like the fog. But
Oh,
yeah.
scary. I've had times when I remember going up the mountain up to Beach Mountain. Oh my God, my uncle used to have a house at Beach Mountain, and that tight road going up there. Oh my, from Banner Oak. Oh my gosh, I've had to open the door and like literally follow the yellow line.
Yeah.
That's
It's
so
funny.
scary.
I was literally talking to the mayor of Beach Mountain yesterday. Not at beach though, just down in the valley. But
Mhm.
yeah, these meetings are capped out at 40 minutes, which is kind of
Okay,
annoying. But
okay,
we got 2 minutes here. So this has
okay,
been an interview with Mayor Nancy Sikes-Kline of St. Augustine. I'm going to adapt this into a video talking about some sort of historic town planning. I'm a planning minor and a political
oh
science
good,
major, so I'm gonna just walk around St. Augustine, see what I see, and then just throw everything in a video, and I'll send it to I think her name was Jasmine who set up this
yes,
interview.
Jasmine.
So
Okay.
I'll get
And
that link.
yeah, and look up Google Town Plan. It's very awesome. The
Hmm.
laws of the Indies, the St. Augustine Town Plan, it's sort of a rubber stamp that Spain used in the New World. So it's the same town plan, like Puerto Rico has the
Oh
same
yeah,
Castillo. Puerto Rico has the same Castillo we have. Cuba, same way. They're really good, very sophisticated planning.
yeah. We talked about that where they set up like every 50 miles down the coast.
Yep.
Very fascinating. Yeah.
And they always have the Central Plaza.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
We got 30 seconds.
Okay, well, it's great. I think you should look into the town plans and the Spanish colonial town plans. They're very interesting. In fact, I should send you a paper. But y'all have fun and take care and enjoy yourselves.